Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Bennett Tyler with the Aberdeen Group, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to part 2 of our 3-part webinar series, Inefficiency Kills Growth, How Leading Companies Manage Growth and Maintain Momentum. The webinar today is hosted by Aberdeen Group and sponsored by Sage. During part 1, we dove into the pressures and challenges that are hindering your organization's growth. Today, in part 2, we'll be uncovering the strategies and actions top companies are taking to face these challenges. Our presenter today is Nick Castellina, VP and Research Group Director of the Business Planning and Execution Practice here at the Aberdeen Group. If you'd like to read Nick's full bio, you can find it in the drop-down arrow below his photo on the right side of your screen. I encourage you all to submit your questions throughout the webinar using the Q&A field at the top left of your screen. While we won't be answering questions during today's presentation, we'll be recording your questions to help drive the final installment in our series. Also, on the left of your screen, you will see our resource section. There you'll find today's presentation deck, as well as some additional reading on today's topic. It is now my pleasure to turn the webinar over to Nick Castellina.
Thank you, Bennett, and thank you everybody for attending this webinar today. As Bennett mentioned, this is part 2 of a 3-part series about how organizations can reduce the inefficiencies that are currently hindering them in their quest for growth. So if you missed part 1, you can actually find that at aberdeen.com on demand. But don't worry, I will recap briefly some of the key things we talked about during that session so you're not lost when I start diving into some stuff today. So with that said, why don't we talk about kind of what we're going to be covering today, and then we'll jump right into the data itself. So as Bennett mentioned, we're going to be talking about the strategies that organizations are putting into place to reduce the challenges that they face when they're growing. So as a growing organization, you are frequently running into a lot of challenges around inefficiency, challenges related to more operating units, more competition, more processes, more people, changing business models, a lot of different things that really hinder a growing organization in their quest to remain competitive that they just didn't have to deal with when they were a small organization. So in part 1, we really talked a lot about what those challenges are. In part 2, we're going to talk about some ways in which to reduce those challenges. So the key findings that you're going to see today include that rising costs and disorganization hold many businesses back from achieving their full potential. So costs really keep you from being able to spend the key financial resources that you have as an organization on the things that you feel are going to be used to grow your business. Also, disorganization makes it very difficult to communicate effectively across your organization. Top business leaders are removed from day-to-day operations, so they don't have the insight they need to make effective decisions to guide the business. This is really keeping the growing business today from achieving its full potential and achieving its goals. So what leaders actually do in order to reduce these challenges is the standardization and acceleration of existing business processes and new business processes across the organization to improve efficiency, but also providing visibility and enhancing agility across the organization. So providing more key data to decision makers when they need that data to make decisions so that they can act quickly to reduce any impact of adverse events or really take advantage of any opportunities that may present themselves. We also find in our research that modernized business systems provide opportunity for the growing SMB to become more effective and reduce costs and really please more customers. And then lastly, we have some data around what top performers prioritize when they're selecting their business solutions. So rather than focusing simply on the cost of something, focusing on what it's actually going to do for your organization as you attempt to grow. So why this is why you should be listening to me, I just wanted to dive quickly into why you should actually believe what I'm saying. So bear with me if you've heard this spiel before, but I just wanted to give you a good idea of how we do the research here at Aberdeen and why this information that you're about to see should resonate with you. So if you don't know Aberdeen, we're a marketing services firm that provides third-party research data that really covers a variety of business topics for end users like you to read and listen to and to consume, to understand ways in which you should improve your organization. So we have several different groups here at Aberdeen covering a lot of different research topics. We have groups dedicated to individual industries like manufacturing or retail. We have groups dedicated to individual functions like supply chain, human capital management, or financial management. And we have research practices dedicated to individual technologies like ERP, business analytics, security, among a variety of other things. And the way in which we do our research is through online surveys that we supplement with end-user phone calls. So we have a pretty broad community of organizations that consume our research and take our surveys that really help us to provide some real context to what's going on out in the market. So within each of those surveys, we have what we call our PACE methodology and our BestinClass Framework. So PACE stands for Pressures, Actions, Capabilities, and Enablers. So what this means is we walk every single survey taker through a series of questions related to this methodology to get an idea of what's challenging them today and how they're addressing those challenges through their actions and their technologies. So the P for pressures being the key challenges that an organization is putting into place or is facing in any given topic. Things like inability to manage growth potential, lack of collaboration. Typically, this is a question where they're allowed to select their top 2 out of a list of somewhere between 8 and 10. Next, we have the actions. These are the key strategies that organizations are putting into place in the face of these pressures. Similar type of question. Then we have the C for capabilities, which are the core competencies that organizations have implemented to support their strategies. Things like the ability to do demand planning, things like the ability to forecast profitability. A lot of times these are really the features and functions of the software. We ask if this is something you've currently implemented, if it's something you plan to implement, or if it's something you have no plans to implement. Then lastly, we have the E for enablers, which can be any type of technology. So things like ERP, business management solutions, accounting solutions. Same type of question we ask, have you currently implemented something? Do you plan to implement something? Or do you have no plans to implement something? Next, we have our BestinClass Framework, which is where we take every single survey taker and we rank them on a series of key performance metrics to determine just how effective they are in any given topic. These can be things like change in profitability year over year, complete and on-time delivery, inventory accuracy. And based on their score, we place them into 3 classes, the top 20% being the best in class, the middle 50% being the industry average, and the bottom 30% being the laggards. What we're then able to do is marry the methodology and the framework together to provide kind of a step-by-step guide on what top-performing organizations are doing to become more effective. So if you see a best-in-class organization is more likely to have a certain capability, that's something that you should be thinking about implementing within your organization because it's a contributing factor to their success. So don't worry about the exact numbers. Really just worry about the story that's behind the data that you're going to see. So with that said, why don't we dive into the main part of the presentation today. So let's start with just readdressing some of the things that we saw in the last session. We have the goals that the growing business of today is facing in 2017. Number one by far is profitability and margin growth. So these organizations are looking to become more effective and grow their businesses and become more profitable. A lot of these other goals relate directly to this. They're looking to increase customer service, modernize their business systems, introduce new products and service, and improve brand awareness and value. But really, it's all about becoming more effective as an organization to bring in more customers and do so at a lower cost so that you can utilize your scarce assets, whether they're human resources, whether they're cash assets, whether they're any type of machinery or whatever it may be, being able to get more out of your organization to to really impact that growth as much as possible without being held back by the challenges that a growing organization faces today. In fact, these are the top challenges that these growing businesses are facing today when it comes to reducing costs, lack of data, interoperability issues, meaning a lack of collaboration across the organization, inability to be agile in reaction to business change. These are all things that are significantly hindered by the inefficiencies that come with a growing organization. So this is really just kind of the recap of what we talked about last time. Let's dive into some of the things that top performing organizations are doing today. So in the face of these inefficiency challenges, your organization is going to have to make a choice. When it comes to implementing technology or not implementing technology, one of the biggest mistakes that we find in our research here at Aberdeen is really the cost of doing nothing. For a growing organization, it can be daunting to consider the investment of a business system that's going to be used to run the business. But what we've actually found is it's only going to hurt you in the long run. We've compared organizations that are on the latest release of an ERP solution to organizations that either don't have a solution or are on an older version, and they perform significantly better from the organizations that have not made a decision. So the things that we're going to talk about the rest of this deck really are going to lead to the improvements in things like days sales outstanding, complete and on-time delivery. These, the amount of time that they get information received during the decision window. These directly impact those challenges that really hinder growth, the inefficiency that hinders growth, the lack of being able to find data, the lack of being able to communicate with your colleagues across your organization or your extended enterprise, whether it's your suppliers or your customers. This is really the impact of inefficiency today, or what impacts inefficiency across growing organizations. So it's time for your organization to make a choice. And from here on, we're going to talk about what the top performers are doing when it comes to selecting solutions, how they're utilizing these solutions, and what strategies and capabilities they have in place when it comes to managing those inefficiencies that hinder growth. So before we can go forward, I just want to define who the best in class is so you can see where you fall and figure out what you need to be doing to become a best in class organization. So for the rest of this deck, we compared the survey respondents across 3 key performance metrics. These include complete and on-time delivery, the improvement in productivity over the past 2 years, and the improvement in profitability over the past 2 years. So what you see is that the top performers are actually performing much more effectively across all of these metrics. They're delivering their products to the customers more often when those customers need them. They're becoming more productive. They're improving their profitability. They're really meeting those goals of a growing organization, and they're avoiding inefficiency, and they're becoming more efficient. So the ways in which they're doing this stem directly from the technology and the capabilities that they put into place, which you're going to see on the next few slides. So let's just dive into the meat of what this presentation is today. What you can do as an organization to become more effective, reduce the inefficiencies that are harming your growth, and ultimately become a more profitable organization. Here we have the strategies of best-in-class growing businesses today. The number one strategy, and remember, this is a survey question where the survey respondents are asked to select their top 2 out of a list somewhere between 8 and 10. And what came up at the absolute top is streamlining and accelerating processes to improve efficiency and productivity. So they're looking to really standardize their processes based on industry best practices to become more effective. So They're looking at ways in which their organization is not getting the most value out of its resources and doing things to make either their employees more effective, make their decision-making more effective, make their machinery more effective, or make their processes more effective. So the ways in which they're doing this is to, number one, modernize their technology infrastructure and applications. Beyond just the inefficiencies that come with a growing organization, your technology can also be something that effectively holds you back as an organization. If you're running your business on spreadsheets, for example, there's a lot of time spent compiling data, fixing data, creating formulas, ensuring that data is actually accurate. This takes up a lot of time, and it can directly impact your organization's ability to act on trends because you just don't have accurate insight into what's going on in the business. Additionally, there are a lot of capabilities out there within business applications that provide access to emerging technologies like mobile or business analytics or cloud technology or social technology that simply relying on manual processes or spreadsheets just aren't enabling your organization to take advantage of and really holding you back and not allowing you to grow. And then really the three other strategies that you see on this slide relate directly to the benefits of modernizing technology infrastructure and applications. Providing visibility to business processes across functions and departments. Again, as business leaders are removed from the day-to-day operations, it becomes increasingly difficult for them to make decisions based on realistic business conditions and guide the business effectively. That's just one of the many inefficiencies that come with growth. By providing more visibility, you can really start to rein things in a growing organization so that you can act more holistically and act more effectively and not waste time with processes that are taking too long or trying to find the data needed to make decisions. You'll see the optimization of the supply chain. So getting more value out of your relationships with your suppliers, being able to communicate with them more effectively, to do things like demand planning, to be able to get more favorable prices on materials. These are the types of things that are really going to help you to increase your margins as a growing organization so that you can continue to operate and continue to invest in the business effectively. And then lastly, improving interoperability and collaboration. Collaboration is something that really emerges in a lot of the research that I produced today that really shows that when you're working together as an organization, when you're connecting functions such as the supply chain and the shop floor or product development and sales or whatever it may be, you're going to make more holistic decisions as an organization and get more value. Also, collaborating with your supply chain, again, your customers and your suppliers, is going to allow you to make better demand-based decisions and help you to get the most value out of the investments you're making as a business. So let's talk about the top capabilities that best-in-class organizations have in comparison to all others when it comes to improving business execution. And really, this is the key to avoiding inefficiency. The more effective you are operating on a day-to-day basis, the less money and time you're wasting trying to handle the challenges that come with growth. So again, compare the best-in-class bar, which is the dark blue bar, to the all others bar, which is the laggers and the industry average combined. And don't worry about the exact numbers. Just really not worry that blue bar is oftentimes many times bigger than the light blue bar. And there's a lot of different things that come out on this slide on how organizations are becoming more effective. It starts with the standardization of processes across the organization. You see that best-in-class organizations are more likely to use industry-specific best practices contained within their business software. So the ERP and business management solution providers out there today are continuously building in functionality that's directly related to the unique needs of their customers' industries, based on industry best practices, based on the types of things and processes that your industry peers are doing that you should be taking advantage of to become more effective and reduce the inefficiency and reduce costs. These can really manifest themselves in a lot of different ways when you rely on the functionality of your business software. Being able to do things like schedule preventative maintenance, automate your financial consolidation, make better decisions about warehouse orders, scheduling your workforce. Really, all these types of things are allowing you as an organization, a growing organization, to get more value out of what you have instead of having to continue to hire more, buy more, spend more, really getting the true value and return on investment out of the scarce resources you have as a growing organization. Because otherwise you're really just going to get bogged down. All of these types of functionalities really tie back to the types of business solutions that a top performing organization is more likely to have. Then take a look at this slide when it comes to visibility and collaboration. These, in my opinion, are really the two main components or core tenets of growth in today's business environment. You see that best-in-class organizations, due to the types of business solutions they have more access to vital information than those that are the all others, as well as are more effective at impacting collaboration both internally and externally. So they have one single centralized source for all the information they need to run their business. And when it comes to a growing organization that's becoming increasingly inefficient, it's all about making immediate informed decisions that are going to allow you to take advantage of any opportunities or mitigate any adverse events. You see that 57% of the best in class, in comparison to 45% of all others, have the ability to automatically notify decision makers based on defined conditions. So they can act immediately to guide the business to take advantage of any prices, for example, to increase prices of your products, to invest in more product, to invest in more people, whatever it may be. You're able to do this because you have access as an organization to the key information that's used to run your business. This can be things like customer information. This can be traceability of the information related to your materials, both upstream and downstream. It can be information related to quality, or it can be just information related to your inventory. Having access to this information is going to ensure that you're keeping inventory costs low, that you're spending less on the products that you're producing, that you're spending less money servicing customers, and also you really have all the information that you need to run your business. So just a few more things. One key thing that you have to really think about when you're looking at technology that's going to use to support your growth is your business solution able to support your organization both today and going forward? So there are a lot of emerging technologies that top performing organizations today are more likely to take advantage of that are really helping them to set themselves apart from the pack. And really that's kind of what I've highlighted on this page. Really it's all about these types of technologies supporting the new type of organization that's out there in the market today. More successful businesses are more informed, they're more agile, they're more collaborative with their customers and their suppliers, and they're really able to take advantage of ERP solutions and business management solutions that support these type of technologies. For example, the best in class are more likely to have access to ERP from mobile devices. And it's not really about just throwing the entire mobile ERP suite up on a mobile device. It's about having individual applications that serve a purpose. Things like order management and order taking, things like service management, sales order management, the types of things that your employees that are out in the field can utilize to ensure that they're getting accurate data and to communicate with your customers effectively. Also, you see things like business analytics, which are allowing growing organizations to get more value out of the data that's available to them, being able to make predictive decisions, being able to consume that data more effectively and convert that into decision-making that's going to allow you to do things like forecast and plan for demand, schedule your employees, schedule your assets, whatever it may be. This is allowing you to take advantage of really the trends that are becoming more and more evident in the business data that you're collecting, but are very difficult for some smaller organizations or organizations without access to technology to take advantage of. And then, before I go into the next slide, I did want to highlight those collaborative technologies like CRM, customer self-service portals, supplier portals, being able to get more information and share more information with your extended enterprise. So we talked about what you should be implementing as an organization today to become more effective. And we did mention that this is a three-part series. Over the next session, which is going to be in a few weeks, we're going to talk about how you can arrive at some of these results, how you can select an ERP solution, how you can actually ensure that the solution you're implementing fits your needs as an organization, and how you can actually get that thing up and running quickly. So I just kind of wanted to tease out just the first slide that'll probably be in that deck. We study what the top ERP selection criteria are for organizations today. And what we found is that the top things that organizations focus on when they're selecting an ERP or business management solution are actually ease of use and functionality. You need to be looking for a solution that's going to solve the individual challenges that you're facing as an organization. If you're on this call today, it's likely that you're dealing with a lot of challenges related to inefficiency. You should be looking for solutions that help you to directly impact those processes and those decisions where you're having trouble succeeding today. So look to your ERP vendor or your partner that's helping you select an ERP vendor to determine really where you can improve as an organization and try to fit the solution to those needs. This is more important than simply what the cost of the solution is. But there's a lot of other different types of things to focus on, and we're really going to dive into that a lot more within the next session. So with that said, we were only scheduled for a half an hour today. I just wanted to reiterate what you should be looking for in the next event, which is coming in a few weeks, and Bennett will tell you a bit more about those logistics after I wrap up. But what we're going to look at next time is the benefits of a best-in-class ERP deployment, what you can expect to achieve by implementing a solution that has the type of capabilities we talked about today, some tips for selecting that solution. Then we're going to go through a guide to the ERP implementation process, and then some recommendations for continuous improvement beyond just your business technology. So that's really going to kind of bring this all full circle. We started with defining what the challenges are of an organization that's growing today. We talked today about some of the things that these organizations have implemented to become more effective. And next time we're really going to talk about how you can actually ensure that you can effectively implement those things to get true value out of any expense that you're creating within your organization. So with that said, just to reiterate, today's organizations are faced with rising costs and disorganization. This inefficiency is really holding many businesses back from achieving their full potential. What leaders look to do is to standardize and accelerate their processes, provide visibility and enhance agility, and they do this through the modernization of business systems and the functionality contained within those business systems. So with that said, it's exactly 2:30 on the dot. I hope this information was valuable today, but I look forward to giving you a real guide onto how to achieve some of these gains in the next session. So with that said, Bennett, you can take it from here.
Thank you very much, Nick, and thank you everyone for joining us today. As he mentioned, that is all the time we have for today, everyone. I want to thank Nick for sharing his research, insight, and recommendations with us, and thank you to our sponsor, Sage, for making today's webinar possible. We hope you found today's broadcast to be beneficial, and if you have any final questions, you can submit them using the Q&A widget on the left-hand side of your screen. We'll record them. At the conclusion of the webinar, we have a short survey about today's event. We'd love to hear any feedback you have on our webinars, and we appreciate your time. As Nick mentioned, the final installment for this series will be live on Wednesday, March 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Nick will be joined by Matt Groom from Sage to dive deeper into some of the recommendations we talked about today, as well as some steps you can take to get your organization on a path to efficient growth. If you're interested in more Aberdeen webinars, be sure to check out our webinar channel page. You can do that by clicking the teal AG logo at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Thank you very much for your participation, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.